I go by Slick. Slick, OG Slick, Slickster, Senor Slick. I believe what drew me to the graph was I was already into like hip hop and b-boy culture when I was growing up, you know, dancing and popping and locking and then as soon as b-boy hit, you know, and all the power moves and it became more like an acrobatic thing. I mean, heads were starting to do like windmills up to like 1990s up to Flair. And I just knew like there's no way in hell I was gonna contribute to the crew with my acrobatic steez. So since I was already into art or good with my hands, I felt like I could contribute to the crew more if, you know, I did the getting us up or, you know, so the art graph was part of the, you know, the elements of hip hop for me, you know. There was the b-boying, the DJing, of course rap and graph, you know. So I gravitated towards the graph, you know. It's a more of a way that I felt like I could contribute to my crew. Yeah. Man, growing up in Hawaii, it was crazy because being on that island over there, whatever we took onto, we kind of went all out with it. And as soon as hip hop and graph, the hip hop in general, we took to it. And it's such a small island that all you could do is just get better and get better and get better. But we were really influenced from the East Coast side because we had a lot of military in Honolulu. When I came to the West Coast, it was like a culture shock because it was more gang-based and gang-influenced graffiti. Where I kind of contributed was probably because I wasn't from LA, I was coming from Hawaii. And, you know, it was the 80s, so there was a lot of, I mean, unless you were there, like 80s was a crazy time, you know what I mean? Like the colors were crazy, like the music was crazy, and just like, I look at pics now and I was like, oh, I can't believe I was wearing that shit out. But yeah, so when I arrived on the scene in LA, they were like kind of set back, you know, like these gangsters, they're all hard and like all creased up and shit, and they're just like, what the fuck is it? This fool like going into areas that I really shouldn't be like going into or straggling into, you know. But I was so oblivious and naive, being from the islands, you know, that I kind of got a pass, you know. And I guess my contributions would be like, since airbrushing was really big in the 80s, like I already had that under my belt. So when I started painting out here, I took that into my graffiti. So a lot of my stuff had that kind of airbrush feel, and my colors, I guess, were really 80s Hawaii kind of vibe. So people weren't used to seeing that shit out here, you know, especially the airbrush style. Because up until then, characters were really like 2D b-boy, like cartoon, like maybe almost like you know, you see the b-boy characters, the New York influences, like the Muggsy and things like that. But I was doing like airbrush style characters with like reflective lights and shit. Because I was going to school, art school at the time too. That's why I was in California. So I was incorporating a lot of that into my graph. So I go to school in the day and then at night I'd be bombing, you know? So heads were looking at my characters and shit, probably were tripping out like, you know, why is he going there with the, you know, fluorescent orange or the fluorescent green, like in his characters and things like that. Like it was probably like mind-boggling to them. But I was like, no, that's what I had in my crate. I'm gonna add a little reflective light. And it was just kind of one of those things. And then it became a thing, you know, and people started recognizing me for that because it was so different from what was out at the time. That's a tough one. I mean, describing my style is, I couldn't describe it. I mean, because I got styles in different things. I mean, are you talking about graphics? You're asking me about my paintings? Are you talking about my graph? I mean, they all have their own unique styles, I guess. But That's tough because I look at my stuff and I don't think I have a style. I think I absorb everyone else's style and it kind of comes out my own way. I try and put like a little twist on everything, but definitely I try and own it, and do the best I can. So there's that maybe that comes out in my style, that element of being all that you can be in that particular moment, whether it's a stroke or like a throw up or whatever it is. Like there's a definite confidence in it, in some of that stuff. It's not just random. So I guess that could be part of my style or my work, I mean, the LA Hands has become really, it has become an icon for Los Angeles, which is great and everything. But I think my favorite of a lot of my things is probably the three pig sculpture. It taps into so many things, my childhood and police brutality and my sarcasm, and everything comes into play. And I feel it's not just random art. It's kind of saying something. Different people take different things from it. I've caught a lot of wreck for that particular piece. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorites. Yeah. The Ice Splat LA, it really summed up my last exhibition. It had that graphic design, which was a big part of my career over the past few years, doing streetwear and all this, and pop art, and the smiley was in there. And then right before the exhibition, I actually smashed over the smiley face and made it more LA, because you go anywhere in LA and it's just crushed, So to me, that really spoke to me as Los Angeles right there, on so many different levels. Yeah. Money Mouse. I've been toying with the big mouse for a minute. My original sculpture was like the Uzi Does It, and playing off the violence and juxtaposed with this happy mouse sort of character. And over the years, just playing with the hands and things like that, like it kind of all came to it just all, my worlds all collided. And being that I'm from like Asian descent, I remember going with my mom to Chinatown and seeing these like little golden like idols and sculptures when you walk into the store, and people would put money on it, and it's like it was like good luck for these like shops, right? And I used to try and like take the coins. My mom was like, no, that's for good luck, I believe when I did Money Mouse, it was about the same time as the whole NFT thing was going on. So that's kind of when I was playing with that, and it was kind of putting this golden statue out there, and it was like raining Bitcoins, it was just kind of like, because it was so crazy back then, and in that NFT, like that it came and went so quick, but it was just like showering like Bitcoins, and crypto. And so that's kind of where that sculpture was inspired and came to be. So actually I did it was first as a NFT, which was just 3D digital. And at a certain point we're like, I always saw it as real, because if I make it in the computer or I draw it or I paint it, it's already real for me. So the next step was to actually build it, So that was kind of like the blueprint of actually making the sculpture. I couldn't capture the Bitcoins all falling and stuff like that in my installation, but I felt they nailed the gold plating on it and everything. It looks banging. Like I would love to see that in like a Chinese store in Chinatown, like right in the front, But that, yeah, I love that sculpture. Yeah. They're all part of a collection in a way, because everything's intertwined in life and my art too. Everything overlaps. That's why it's so hard for me to separate graphic design, my fine art painting, my graffiti, my vandalism, and everything. It just, and because to me, everything's kind of intertwined, you know. Like the Love Gloves is the Pride edition. That's actually part of a collection. Like I've been doing the Love Gloves for some time, and I actually did like a 30-foot one in Shanghai, and I did this like a 12-inch version that's in this auction, and I believe it was a small edition, and it was the Pride colors to, I guess, you know, just show that it's all love, you know what I mean? Like everywhere you go. And I think, you know, as fucked up as this world is right now, we could all use a little love, you know? To be honest, I don't really give it that much thought about where these pieces are gonna end up when I'm coming up with them. I'm just as surprised or excited to see where they end up, and people send me pictures of it in their home or in their studio or in part of their collections, and it brings a lot of joy to me, you know, to see people getting that joy out of it. So I don't want to tell people where it should live or, you know, how it should be shown, you know. I want them to take it and incorporate it into their life and you know, bring some joy to them and send pics. I'd love to see them. Now, if you're bidding on the pieces, good luck, you know. I don't know how long more I'll be doing this shit, you know? So if you get it, you get it, you know? If you don't, then peace.